Hey everybody, Mark with Cardivox Academy here, vocalist for Kardashev and Viremia. Now, first and foremost, this reaction and vocal breakdown thing is doing very well. I've received an incredible amount of feedback, positive feedback also, from all of you, and I'm really pleased that you're all enjoying these videos. I'm sorry that today's video is coming a little bit later. Most of the day today, I've either been in lessons or fighting off a sinus infection. Luckily, sinus infections aren't so bad. And they're all up here. You know, it's not really down here, so I'm still able to kind of scream along and things like that. Now, today, we're doing Archspire. Sorry. Today, we're doing Archspire. I got a lot of requests for Alex Terrible from Slaughter to Prevail, and we are going to talk about that. You pretty much have to talk about that guy because... boy, there's a lot you could talk about with resonance and the pharynx and things like that. But it would have been similar to last week's video with Ben Dur, I don't know how to say it, sorry. But this kind of moves it in a different direction. This gives us something a little bit different and fresh to talk about. Because this guy, the vocalist for Archspire, Archspire, who knows? Well, a lot of people probably know. I don't know. Is tremendous breath control. And breath control is one of the most important issues that we could possibly talk about ever. Even people who don't do metal, opera singers, pop singers, rock singers, pop punk singers. Everybody needs proper breath support, and this guy's got it down pat. So it's going to give us an opportunity to talk about that. Also, you know, because this channel has been doing better than I expected, and I can only imagine that a lot of that is due to you sharing these videos, so thank you very much for that. I'm humbled and very appreciative. I've been getting a lot of requests. By the way, if you sent me a request and I haven't responded, please, I promise I'm not ignoring you. I just kind of woke up to a lot more than I had anticipated. So I'm trying to catch up. I'm hoping to get through everything by the end of this coming weekend. Well, probably Sunday, early afternoon. Well, early afternoon my time. But I would say about 60 to 70% of the people who I've talked to so far, they mention that they're having vocal pain. And if that's you, please stop doing metal vocals and take at least a full day of no singing and no screaming and talking as little as possible. Give everything a chance to calm down. But breath support is often at least part of what's causing vocal pain, because you don't have enough pressure coming from your abdominal cavity, right? Your diaphragm's not doing enough work, so you're having to compensate up top. And so that's part of the reason pain can come. And part of the reason I want to talk about breath support, to kind of give all those people who have sent me requests a little bit of something that they can work with in the meantime while I'm responding to them. So let's go ahead. Let's jump into it. Oh, and just a fun little trivia. Doppelganger. Doppel, I think, is German for double. And then ganger, or ganger, is similar to Old Norse ganga, which means to walk. So doppelganger means double walker or double goer. So it's also where we get, I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I looked into this word. I'm kind of a word nerd, but also where we get our word gang, because it's a group that goes together, walks together, gang, gang. Anyway, let's jump into it. I'm gonna let it play for a little while, and then we're gonna pull it apart. They just start, no intro, just brum. That's cool artwork. Can anybody read that fast? Can any human read that fast? Because I can't. I'm like, all right, dude. I believe that's what you're saying. You got it. Jeez. We'll break this down in a second. Okay, so this is a good sentence. Let's talk about this. There is no God, for if there was, then how'd this evil take me? This will work. There is no God, for if there was, let me hear that pattern again. There is no God, for if there was, then how'd this evil take me? So let's talk about breath support and how it's helping him. This is a little bit slower, so it's something I'll be able to participate in. But One thing that we want to do when we're doing metal vocals is we want to use the minimum amount of air that we need to make our sound. You know, a lot of the students that I work with, one thing, once they get the sound of the scream, once you have that and once you're doing it safely, what I'll do is I have them relax into it. So they'll do their scream, yeah! And I'm going to do mostly highs today just because my head's feeling stupid. And highs are my go-to. Highs are really easy for me. Lows I often have to warm up into. But, you know, I'll have them do their vocal, right? And then I have them relax into it. I say, you know, hold it and then relax into it. Realize that and every time they're like, oh my God, I was doing so much more work than I needed to. And I'm like, yeah, most of my students, a goal that I set for them, and if I had a lighter nearby, I would do it. Maybe I'll go get one. We'll see. I'll have them turn on the lighter, hold it up, and scream at it. And with the goal of not putting the flame out, because that's the amount of air that you need, right? Much of vocalization is a balancing act between the work of your diaphragm and the compression of air with your articulators. So, something to think about. He's using the absolute minimum amount of air that he needs to get these out, and so it's very relaxed. I can guarantee he's super relaxed. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. We'll find a different phrase for me to kind of try along with. Not this one. Not this one. I'm not doing that one. Oh, God. That's a cool transition. I can only imagine that this guy, when he's performing, the click track in his ear is so freaking loud. Because boy, this is really technical music, and it would be like, I can only imagine on stage, there's like this short little break, boom, and he's got to punch in right away. Like, people clearly they come to see this guy, and so he kind of has a high expectations to do well. There is no time or end behind this epidermal prison. Okay, this is a cool phrase. So let's talk a little bit about writing lyrics, because what a lot of metal vocalists, I think, don't think about is that your vocals start, at least when it comes to songwriting, your vocals start with your lyrics. You need to write lyrics in such a way where you're thinking strategically. You're saying, where am I going to breathe? This guy, he says, I'll breathe at the beginning and maybe one more at the end. I'm kidding. But, you know, think strategically. I remember when Kardashev first started, we have a song on our demo called Tier 2. And at the time, I just wrote what I thought sounded cool, and then I couldn't do it. I literally wrote a song I could not do. These days I can do it, but it took a long time. And we'd get live, and honestly, it was pretty disappointing. Not that we had enough fans to disappoint, really. But yeah, so the strategy I'm referencing here is, one thing you'll notice is that the only time that there are two consonants next to each other, they either blend, right? So end, you hear the N and the D specifically, but they're blending smoothly, or they're what's called a consonant digraph. You can see that here with the TH in this. And a consonant digraph is when two consonants next to each other create their own sound. This, shoe, chip, chip. Chip might not count because there's a little bit of a chip might not count. I'm not sure. But what you aren't seeing are really complicated consonants like sps and crisps. Thank God we call them chips over here, because I would hate walking around all day saying crisps. So if you look at this, one thing you can do is you can break down your lyrics when you're writing lyrics into you know, duckata duckata duckata. There is no time or end behind this epidermal prison. See how that flows? That's really easy to say. If it's really easy to say, it's probably going to be easy to scream. There is no time or end beyond this epidermal prison. What is that, 108? Yay! There is no time or end beyond this epidermal prison. See, not so bad. Not so bad. That's cool. All right. That's kind of a cool screenshot. Kind of the chromatic aberration look. But I want to talk about that sound, okay? That, I'm pretty sure, is an inhale. And I'll tell you why I think it's an inhale. I heard that, and I was like, oh, I don't feel good about that. So here's a video of these guys playing live. And I also, again, I'm never calling out these vocalists, right? These are successful people who are very good at what they do. But sometimes in life, people do things differently than you would. And in this case, this guy is doing lows in a way that I would not suggest. And I found a live video of him doing lows just to make sure I was correct. And I'm 99% sure this guy is doing inhales. Let's talk about inhales in a second. But I want to show y'all. We'll go a little bit far back so you can see how relaxed he is when he's doing his rapid fire. He's got a little shoulder movement. He's got a little clavicular breathing. That's not good, but it's, I mean, he's obviously not doing it too detrimentally. A telltale way to know if somebody is inhaling, it's not always audible, but is the sound, it'll sound like it's sucking in. And I'm not going to do it. I actually refuse to inhale. So no demonstrations on that, sorry. But part of the reason is your vocal folds have developed over time to move this way. They are not supposed to move this way. That's not right. Do I know how to inhale? Yes. Like in the other video when I said I don't know how to breathe very well, I can make some pretty mad breathe noises, but it's an inhale, and I'm not going to do that. Listen, vocalists, we get one set of vocal folds our entire lives. And listen, I can't stop you from inhaling. I can't stop you from pulling those vocal folds in the wrong direction. It's up to you. It's your body, your choice. But listen, if you hit that inhale too hard and things pull down, I don't condone inhales. He's doing it. He's been doing it for a while. It doesn't seem like he's hurt himself. Good job. Kudos. I'd be happy to have a drink with this guy. I wouldn't get on his case, but this inhaling, I don't suggest. That being said, though, if you know a vocalist that inhales, don't be a dick, right? Don't be like, oh, you inhale? Pff, you're not a real vocalist. Because half the time, the people who say that, they're not on stage themselves. So kind of get real. Anyways, let's get back to this song. Guitar solo. I feel it. That's one. Let's work with that. Oh, that'll be fun. I am the involuntary doppelganger. Because that's going to be tough. Volunteer. I am the voluntary. That's actually cool because the word involuntary, it moves back. So the V, L, N, T, not that far back. V, L, N, T, R, involuntary. So that takes a good amount of control. I'm going to try it. I don't think I'll hit it as well as this guy. Let's hear it again. Yay! I am the involuntary doppelganger! I kind of slopped up doppelganger, but one thing that will help if you're trying to go rapid fire, and with my students I give them exercises and we work with it actively together, is don't think that going fast requires more air, and don't think that going slow requires more air. They require, think of it this way, they require the same amount of air. What's happening is you have a continuous airflow, and that continuous airflow is being manipulated by your articulators. Okay? So a lot of people, they'll start screaming fast or singing fast, and they'll start pushing. Unnecessary. So what you can do actually is there's a handy dandy little button down here, and you can turn the playback speed down. Like, you can put it to 0.5. I am the involuntary doppelganger. So you can practice it by slowing it down. That's a really good thing to do as well. If you're trying to go fast, start slow. The best way to be fast is to be a master at being slow. It's just true. Oh, let's fix that. Sorry, guys. This is cool. All of the time I spent inside it, I never thought I could be calling out to. What the heck is this guy's crazy? Crazy good. Yeah, that's a cool pattern. That's a really cool pattern. Now let's talk about how we can get good at that, right? Because I don't want to just sit here and be like, oh, that was cool. I want to give you some actionable advice. So one way that you should practice your screams is not always by screaming, right? What do I mean by that? As metal vocalists, there's a little trick that we can use to practice without fatiguing ourselves. And that is rap music. I'm serious. So even if you don't like rap music, like there are some rappers out there that, God, they are, I'm pretty big on certain rap music. Milo is my favorite rapper, if anybody's curious. But like the breath management that some of them have is absolutely unreal. And like if a rapper can take the time to learn proper breath management because they're absolutely amazing, so can we. When I was working on the new track for Viremia, Glioblastoma, I worked alongside with Rap God by Eminem. I didn't scream it. I just practiced being able to do that really fast section in one breath. Let's try it.
The very next day, hey Fab, I'ma kill you. Lyrics coming at you with supersonic speed. You assuming I'm a human. What I gotta do to get it through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, animated rubber, so that anything I say is taking strain off of me and it'll glue to you. I'm devastating more than ever, demonstrating how to give a motherfucking audience a feeling like it's levitating, never fading. And I know the haters are forever waiting for the day that they can say I fell if they're celebrating. Cause I know the way to get them motivated. I make elevating music, you make elevated music. Oh, he's too mainstream. Well, that's what they do when they get jealous.
Why is that valuable? Because that can get us used to moving our articulators quickly and managing our breath. That was all one breath without screaming. Don't scream unless you've got everything else down, and then put the scream on top of it. There's no reason to make your whole practice 100%. Sometimes when I'm practicing like being a better metal vocalist, I'm not actually doing a lot of screaming. I'm focusing on my breaths. I have a keyboard for the people that I give singing lessons. What do? I sit there and I go ha 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 to get control over that interplay between air flow, air pressure, and resistance of articulators. Now that's vocal cords, so that's more singing than it would be false chord. But things to keep in mind. Let's get back to metal. So if you want to practice things like tone, speed, articulation, get really good at it speaking, singing, or rapping first, and then when you've got that down, then scream over top of it. It'll be so much easier, and your vocal anatomy will be so thankful. That's cool. That was interesting. Hold on a second. So he actually doesn't say involuntary doppelganger. He says voluntary doppelganger. That's another thing that we as metal vocalists have an advantage on. So, and this actually I should correct myself. Not just metal music. A lot of singing involves saying things differently. So, for example, in choirs, because I was in just school choirs growing up, you pronounce words differently so that the sound is going to cut through and sound like the actual words that you're saying. But certain consonants and certain vowels, you actually say what in speaking would be improperly so that it carries through. So that being said, if you're a metal vocalist, we can kind of use that same mindset. We can say, like, if you're saying the word life, okay, don't scream life unless you really want that, like Chew. And if you're singing life, see how that's kind of gross? Life, yeah, life, right? Say life, life, nice and open, life. Same thing goes with this. You can omit certain syllables if you want to. Who cares? If it's going to make you perform better and if it's going to sound good. I mean, obviously there's a threshold of you know, being lazy, which this guy is clearly not, and doing what you need to do to make a good product. So, you know, don't feel like you have to pronounce every syllable, although this guy pronounces like 99% of them. Another thing that this guy is really good at, and this is going to sound contradictory, but one of my philosophies on what makes a good vocalist is knowing when to shut the hell up. Sometimes the music needs to exist on its own. You don't, like, vocalists don't constantly scream over your guitar solos. Don't constantly scream over the fills. And this was a really great example of him, although he might have wrote it this way strategically so that live he had a little bit of a break in the song. That would be smart. But the way he's jumping in and out while the guitar's doing that really cool run in the background, that's not only good vocal practice, like I said, so you have a break on stage. It's also interesting and good composition, good writing, you know? I think so anyway. Maybe that's a matter of opinion, but let's listen to it again and listen to how by him breaking up the pattern, stopping every once in a while, the guitar in the background is really able to come through, and it's doing something cool that's worth hearing on its own. Something to think about, vocalists. Really. I mean, some bands scream over the whole song, and that's what they're like. That's what the whole band is basically meant to do. But, you know, don't always do it. That was a good... Let's talk about blaz and az really quick. What a lot of people tend to do is they want to articulate that with a glottal stop. They want to go You don't have to go You can use your tongue against your teeth to make that sound. So like if you've ever seen the movie Ice Age, you know about Sid the Sloth. He's got a lateral approximant lisp. Sid the Sloth. It's been a while since my speech therapy class days. I've never been a speech therapist, but I took about a bunch of classes on it. I just want to clarify that. I have never been a speech therapist. I just did a lot of classes. But anyway, you can use that to kind of make a pseudo K sound. So, that was good. So when I do that, I'm down here doing the same. It feels the same as if I was going, yeah. Super relaxed, super easy. But the B from the and letting that of the teeth on this of the tongue on the side of the teeth to make the click of what normally would be it creates, especially in a mix, the illusion of and then you're not putting any extra work on your vocal folds. Really, if ever there's an option to do metal vocals, false chord. In the false chord world, if there's ever an option to not involve your vocal cords, go for it. Vocal fry involves the vocal folds being held together, and I'm going to be straight up. I don't really do a lot of vocal fry. It's a great technique. It's wonderful for people who do it well. You can do vocal fry safely. It is a safe technique to do, but I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm hesitant to teach it. So that's why right now I'm focusing mostly on false chord. But that's just a little tidbit for you to take home. That's beautiful. That's one of my favorite things compositionally, is when there's something in the background pulsating rhythmically and predictably. So this is going bum 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 underneath. I love that. I love how this guy comes in. I'm not going to deny that inhales can sound really cool, especially when like double or triple tracked. But I don't suggest it. It sounded dope, like let's be honest, but I don't suggest it. Notice how he's not screaming over this part. He's letting the buildup breathe on its own. Good work, dude. And there he is! Ah! Yes! Oh, I love that outro. Ooh, that is angelic. That was beautiful. All right, folks. Well, that was... now what's going on?
Got a small...
See ya. All right, so... that was Involuntary Doppelganger. I want to leave you with an exercise that you can practice at home. Now, again, this is just one of the exercises that I do with my students. There are some others, but this is a great one just to give you something to get started. Find a tongue twister. One that I'm working on with one of my students right now. Actually, his project is super cool. It's Ghostbusters themed. Right, and I know. You hear about bands doing like kind of pop culture things, and you could be a little bit hesitant. But this guy's song, I'm not going to play it because it's his music. I'm not going to do that. But his song, like, it's Ghostbusters theme, and it's actually really good. When he sent it to me, I was jamming to it. I was like, guys, this is pretty good. But one thing I have him doing, because his vocals are very rapid fire, is work with. You can use any phrase, but I think that this is really good. Pitter patter, bitter batter. So pitter patter, bitter batter. Start slow. Pitter. You can even go pitter patter, bitter batter. 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 And try to make it as articulate as possible. Pitter patter, bitter batter. Pitter patter, bitter batter. It's hard even for me, but that's the point. If it's easy, it's not a worthwhile thing to do. Well, that's not always true, but usually challenging things are better. And then you can give it some diaphragm. Pitter patter, pitter batter, pitter patter, bitter batter, pitter patter, bitter batter, pitter patter, bitter batter. You can throw a scream on it. Pitter patter, pitter batter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter. Pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter. Right, and it should be really easy. And when you're done, you should not feel any pain or scratchiness, and it should be simple. So, thanks for checking out my reaction and breakdown of Archspire. Again, reaction videos and vocal breakdowns like this every Friday. I'm playing with the idea of doing additional videos throughout the week that are more focused on technique, or maybe reacting to some other bands. Some people have sent me their music asking for a reaction. I want to find a way to make that work, because I think it'd be fun to react to some maybe lesser known bands. Kind of help them out. A lot of people have helped out Kardashev and Viremia, and I want to be able to pay that forward. But that's pretty much all I have for you today. I pick all of... Oh, this is important. I pick all of the songs I review for my Friday reviews from the comment section. That's the only place, because I want to do stuff that y'all want to hear. Obviously, I can't do everything, but... So if you have something that you want to hear next week, I always pick it from the last one. So what do you want to hear next week? Put it in the comments below. Again, I do one-on-one vocal lessons over Skype. I am a little bit backlogged right now because things exploded faster than I had anticipated, but don't hesitate to reach out. If it takes me a little while to respond to you, I promise I will. I love hearing from all of you. And then, actually, one last thing. There's always one last thing, but one last thing. You know, a lot of people have been throwing in techniques and stuff in the comment section. Go for it. Like, I am so happy for this comment section to be a place for metal vocalists to collaborate, you know, give each other ideas. The only thing I ask is that just be really careful. Be really careful if you see a technique in the comments. I'm not trying to discredit anyone, but not all advice is created equal. And I really don't want anybody out there to hurt themselves. Metal vocals can be the most safe, fun, relaxing, non-damaging thing in the world if you're taking your time and you're doing it right. But feel free to get in there. And, you know, sometimes there's something that I don't know how to do. Like, actually, there's a lot of stuff. I know I'm very knowledgeable, and there's a lot that I can do, but there are some things that I cannot do. And lately, people have been requesting a black metal band who is amazing. I want to get into more black metal. We will. Called Ultar. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And he has this whistle scream. I think he's building that on a fry. That's my suspicion. I haven't quite figured it out. So if you can whistle scream, or if you have some knowledge about whistle screams, throw it in the comments. You know, let's talk about it. Anyways, that is it. I will leave you all to your weekend. I really appreciate the love and support. Right back at you. Many thanks. Much love. I'm out.